How's it going? Welcome back to the Nintendo Prime Podcast, episode 47. Hopefully everything's working all right tonight, because this is the first time we've had a guest on since we supposedly fixed our audio. I don't really know. I guess you guys can let me know. Are we robotic? Are we not robotic? Am I having a lisp of... Oh, that's just me. That's just me being weird. I am your host, as always, Mr. Nathaniel Janc. And to my left, your guys' right, or really your guys' middle, we have Mr. Eric Moore.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And then our new kinda sorta co-host, kinda sorta just regular. We'll call him the regular. He's the one you will see the most in this little panel all the way to your right. Mr. Mike Perez, otherwise known as Nintendo Academy. How's it going?
What is going on, guys? I'm all red. Look, I'm all red. I got my red hat. I got my red Nate hoodie thingy. I got my red Switch.
Ah, nice.
So it's all
there
red.
There you
here.
go, redding it up tonight. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. All right. Well, we have a jam-packed show for you guys today. You guys know we've had quite a bit of interesting news happening this week. We're going to dive into two of the really, really big topics. One of them being Nintendo's lineup the rest of this year, because we had a major shift to that lineup that's leading to a ton of speculation of what's going to be happening. And also, supposedly, some major updates coming to Nintendo Switch Online, following up rumors from last year where now we might have real evidence, disputed evidence, but also not disputed evidence. It's going to be quite interesting when we dive into that. But first, like we do every single week, we start with what have you been playing lately? So, I'm going to let Mike go first. What have you been playing lately, bud?
Been playing a little bit of Lego Star Wars, a little bit of Kirby Forgotten Land, and a little bit of Pokemon Legends Arceus. I still haven't beaten Pokemon Legends Arceus. It's like I started, and I just halfway through just stopped, and then went. And then because I think it's because so many games are coming out one after another that I got really unraveled into Kirby and Forgotten Land. That's my favorite game of the year so far. You know, game of the year for me so far, until something dethrones it. Yeah, just, you know. And then I've been playing also Final Fantasy Remake on PS5. Love it.
Nice. Eric, what have you been playing, bud?
I actually beat Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Content?
Oh, the post-game content, yep.
Nice.
So, I think I looked at it and I was at 86% done, which is weird. I don't know what...
100.
Which is weird, because I don't know what else there is.
Oh, you're missing something.
I mean, I still have some of those little figurines to collect, but...
That could be it.
And I have to still beat the third and final round of the Coliseum, but...
well, there you go. That could be what you're
That's
missing.
probably what I'm missing.
Probably.
Just as an FYI, that last round of the Coliseum is a bitch.
Sweet.
Lord.
I can't wait. I'm not there yet. Haven't done a ton of gaming over the last week. If people listened in on the end of my stream last night, you might know a little bit about why. There's been a lot going on. My grandmother's in the hospital, some other stuff. But setting all that aside, I did actually get to play some more Kirby finally. I've been dying to get back into it after kind of taking a break for a couple weeks, and now I've gotten through the snow zone. Got through it last night, and I'll probably, get through another zone tonight or half a zone tonight. And I'm really, really excited. I kind of decided that I'm not going to 100% as I go. I know what I need to do. So the couple ones that I didn't 100%, when the first time I did it, I know where I need to go in the level to do it. I noticed it while I went through. Like, there was one where I had to take out 4 of the doggo animal snow things, and I remember one specifically that I totally just forgot to get. So I was missing one, but it's whatever. I'll go back and do that later, because I do plan to 100% the game just because I really like playing it. And the thing is, what I've noticed when I'm 100%ing, because I did this in the prior zone where there was a couple I didn't, is after I beat the snow zone, I went back to the carnival zone, and I was actually having fun again playing through those levels again, trying to 100% them. So there was a part of that where replaying a level after I just beat it isn't as fun as going back to it a little bit later. So that's kind of what I just kind of decided. You know what? I'm going to get to the post game, then I'll worry about going back and replaying the things I need to do, doing the time trials I need to do, or whatever else I need to do to get that 100%, including obviously collecting some of those figurines that I'm probably missing, because I know you got to play them multiple times to get different figurines, multiple playthroughs. So I'm really looking forward to that. And the Coliseum, I've only got through the first stage of it, so I got Apparently, quite the challenge ahead.
Yeah.
If Eric's saying it's a challenge, I'm almost a wee bit scared. I have a feeling Eric's a smidge better at Kirby than I am. So I'm a little bit scared if he's saying it's hard. But I'm not really scared. It's more like I'm looking forward to it. I'm just shocked that it's something that's actually that difficult in the Kirby game.
Yeah. Do you remember that review? We read before we played the game.
Yeah. Where there's absolutely nothing.
There's no challenge.
No challenge.
Everything's too easy.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a breeze.
You're right.
I mean, I already knew there was challenge, just what I played so far, because you obviously have all those little side things where you collect the color star that you need for your upgrades. And while you don't have to beat the time trials, it is kind of nice to see the check on it. You get 50 coins. Mm-hmm. Not really a big deal, but it does add a little challenge, and some of those can be quite challenging. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't necessarily say it's more of a repetition. It's more of you just need to find the shortcuts. And that's part of the challenge, is figuring out what the shortcuts are in certain places, what things you can skip, what you cannot skip. Sometimes it's just picture-perfect platforming, no mistake. And it's not that the platforming's hard, but it's hard if you're trying to maximize the speed at which you're going through it. So that already added a challenge, but you could argue, if a reviewer wants to say, yeah, but it's less of a challenge. You know what to do. You can figure out what to do. But apparently, if that Coliseum's a real challenge with the actual mechanics and the fighting and that last one,
it's mainly just even the last.
And I can say, I'm sorry, frenetic mode on the one mini game where you're serving lunch. I'm sorry, are you telling me that's easy? If that's easy, then I call bullshit that the reviewers even bothered to play it. They just probably played it on the first level just to try it out, and then that was it. Yeah, the first level, it was easy. You get to lunch rush mode on frenetic mode, I'm sorry. You tell me you're getting 100% on that. You tell me you even get through it without a cancel. Yeah, I know. That's why I said you're better at Kirby than me.
I did.
But it's not easy.
No, God, no.
Not at all.
No, I think it took me about 4 or 5 tries.
Yeah, it's not
easy.
easy.
And I dropped it down a level to kind of master a little bit,
Yeah, practice it and get used to this. So it's like, it's not easy. So... yes, Kirby in general, I would say is an
the levels
easy
are not
game.
that hard.
No, clever designs in some places though. I like some of the designs.
I mean, I hate some of those ones.
The music too.
Oh yeah, right. I hate the ones defeat the boss without getting hit. Oh, son of a bitch! Some of those ones
like defeat the boss without getting hit while using a certain item.
You're right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of those can be bad.
I like the fact that every level is very replayable. Just like they were saying, you're gonna go back and complete some things. Good thing is that after you pass the entire game. To me, Kirby's the kind of game that you can just, you know what, I'm gonna just go sit down and play some Kirby. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Casually. That's the kind of game you will just sit back and play a game if you want to play. If you have nothing in mind to play, like you're not playing any game or you just want to sit back, relax. Kirby is the game you can just put in, play it, and just relax and just sit back and enjoy each level because. The levels are so well designed, so fun. It's very replayable. So
that's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with it, and the fact that there is at least a couple things in the game that are extremely challenging. It reminds me that a lot of people that review games, especially when they're on that early review schedule where they got a date they got to get it out by, they don't necessarily do everything. And that's understandable to a degree. A lot of them probably just beat the main story and said, I'm good. Or they tried out the first level of the Coliseum, said, I'm good. Tried the first level of the minigame, said, I'm good. And that's fine to an extent. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I do think that kind of stuff should be noted in the reviews, though. It should be like, I played it, like if they played it on the easiest difficulty, okay, then you should tell us that that's the difficulty you played it on. If you didn't 100% the game, you should tell us that, hey, this isn't a 100% review. Here's what I did. I beat the main story, and I tried out the other side things in the game, but I didn't really, go all the way through. That provides context to the review. That might not change your review score, but it provides context. So when you say it's easy for what you experienced, but you didn't get the full breadth of the game in. And then you can get other reviews that maybe did 100% it and see if there's a difference between that and stuff. So, and unfortunately, that's just a lot of reviews don't note it. Like, even when you read Elden Ring reviews, what difficulty they play at? Mm-hmm. What did you do? Like, okay, so I'm like, I'm reviewing this game after 45 hours, and I'm like, I think I'm 30% of the way in, or I'm halfway in. Okay, you don't even know how far into the game you are. Are you sure you should be writing the review right now?
Yeah.
I'm not quite so sure that just because the deadline hit, like if you want to do like my thoughts so far, that's fine.
That's a good thing, yeah. Yeah.
Like I always said, no, if I started getting review copies of games and had a deadline, hey, if I don't have a review done by then, I'm just gonna work on, hey, I'm gonna give you my thoughts so far, and I'll hit the review with you, over the weekend or next week or whenever I get it done. I always feel like it's better to be more thorough than anything, which is why, guys, you don't see me review games because I ain't got the time to be that thorough most of the time. Like, look, you guys, most of you have been done with Kirby for weeks, maybe even a month at this point. I'm not. It's not a game that I need to play for 15, 20 hours. It's just finding the time that I'm going to sit down, because the problem is it is a game that you can quickly pick up and play and just play for a little bit and be done. But I'm having too much fun. I don't want to be done.
Right.
So I need at least an hour, if not 2 hours, where I'm sitting down and just playing Kirby. And it's just a blast. Also, another update, because there's a few other games I've been dabbling in. I've been getting back into Age of Empires 4 on PC and stuff. My fiance... she has now, I think, become one of the biggest Fire Emblem Warrior fans in the entire world.
Wow.
She has not only beat the game, quote, 100%ed the game.
What?
On normal. She is now halfway through the game again on hard.
Wow.
Now, she has not moved beyond button mashing, so she claims. Except now she says, but I have 2 characters that I figured everything out on. I'm a master. And I watch her play with those 2 characters. When she switches to others, she gets confused. I'm like, honey, the controls don't change. You don't have to be confused. Right. But it's fine. I get it. She likes the way certain characters play. And she doesn't know anything about the story, hasn't read a damn word, doesn't listen to any of the cutscenes. She don't give 2 shits. She just loves the gameplay that much and the missions that much. So credit to her. I've never seen her get this deep into a game.
It's awesome.
Since like Super Mario 3D World that we beat together. That was the last time I saw her get this passionate about a game. And now she's like, hey, when's the next one coming? I'm like, well, there is another Fire Emblem one coming like in June, but that's in June. Well, I might be done with this by then. I'm like, well, then play some Hyrule Warriors. Yeah, Zelda's your thing. This is my thing.
It's a Warriors game.
I'm like, okay, sorry. Well, hopefully it gets hard enough for you towards the end that you're stuck on the last little bit of the game for a while, because there's a lot of content in the game, and yet you're just because here's the thing, guys, she has a job where for half her shift her clients are sleeping. She just has to be there because someone's got to be there all the time, so that's when she plays. So now she's got like 4 hours 5 days a week that she's just powering down on more games than I do in a week. It's pretty crazy, at least powering down in a more hardcore way than I do, because I don't get that passionate into games unless it's like Zelda. So credit to her. Maybe we'll have her come on the opening stream for Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. We'll have to tell her, hey, you're gonna take that night off because you need to come here, and or maybe she'll come on the Saturday stream like, honey, now you play and tell them what you think. This is awesome. Yeah, right. Or she'll be like, this sucks. This isn't as good as the last one.
I got the title. I got the perfect title for it. It's a non-gamer's review of Fire Emblem.
There you go.
But I'm just really glad she found something she really likes. People always wonder, man, who are the fans of the hack and slash? Hey, I never thought that my fiance of all people would be the big fan of a hack and slash game, and here she is, just having a blast. See, and because like her favorite games on Switch before that were just Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and you could be like, oh, well, that's expected. Yeah, going from that to this, that's like a Now, if you know her, it makes sense. Oh, I got my peaceful. She just likes to fish. It's like the only thing she likes to do in Animal Crossing. She just likes to fish. She wants to make her home look nice, but you go into her home and it's just full of fish everywhere. She just likes to fish. But then she goes from that to being like, I just want to kill everything. I'm like, sweet.
That's hilarious.
That's my girl. Yeah, Bayonetta. We'll see about Bayonetta. I plan to play a little bit in front of her and see if she wants to get it. Bayonetta takes a bit more skill. Button mashing won't get you through that, but we'll see. We'll see. She might want to give it a try. You never know. One thing she's not a fan of in games, and again, this just comes because she hasn't played a lot of them, is the whole moving the camera with the right stick. She's not a fan of that, and a lot of us forget because we've been doing it for so long. But the first time we started doing it, it was pretty awkward too. Especially if you come from like PC games to that. What the hell? It's way different than a mouse. And then twin stick shooting, like it's It is. It's difficult, and it's just we've been doing it for so long. It's like second nature now. But I told her it's just something you get used to. You just gotta do it more. And she's like, I don't like it. I mean, she doesn't like it. She's not gonna use it.
It's like, take what you got because you're lucky, man. Your wife is getting into games. Like my wife, she'll look at games. She's like, just give it a look. I think the last place she games, her favorite game, by the way, and the only game she plays is Miss Pac-Man.
Hey, what's wrong with that? Miss Pac-Man's great.
Yeah. And the original version, and she'll only play it on an arcade. She won't play it like on a tablet.
So you have the arcade unit for it, right?
No, we don't have the arcade. I'm kind of getting it just for that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it'd be a nice little set piece back there. I don't know.
Yeah. The one up arcade.
And then you just put a sign on it that says "wifeys."
Exactly.
Just so everyone knows, this is not mine. This is hers.
I've been searching for like our old arcade so I can rebuild it and put it back there.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, like a project.
All right. Well, I think it's time to get into our first topic of the night, and that is opening up my very complex document. It is about the lineup for this year. So we just got announced, I believe today, actually, same day as the podcast. We're doing the podcast a day early because of some playoff games going on. But I mean, Eric's still going to be there, and we'll probably still be doing some work on the set. We got some new cable management for the light setup now, which are so much better. We're just idiots. We should have thought about this sooner.
Right.
There is a significant change in Nintendo's lineup this year. So originally, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was supposed to release in September. I think it was like September 17th or something. And today they dropped a new trailer, which the new trailer looks amazing. And in that trailer, we got two pieces of news. One of those pieces is that, hey, guess what? We're releasing 2 months early in July, on July 29th. So they have now shifted that game to July. Now, technically, it's not the only quote-unquote Switch exclusive game coming in July because we do have Live Alive or Live Alive. I don't really know how you pronounce it, but that game that used to be Japanese. Yeah, they used to be Japanese exclusive back in the Super Nintendo days, I believe. They've now like sort of HD, 2D'd it, and they're bringing that over to Switch on July 22nd. Then a week later, we get Xenoblade Chronicles. So those are the two July exclusives we know of right now. Could be more. I have no idea because Splatoon 3 is technically still slated for summer. So it could be a beginning of July, could be August, or some people now think it's been pushed, but we'll see. So that's a big move now. That's moving that forward 2 months. That also means the game's done, guys. It also kind of proves that Nintendo does sit on games that are done and just decide when the right time is to put them out. I think we all thought this back in 2017 with Mario Odyssey, that that game was done. And they just were deciding when they wanted to put it out there because they didn't want to release it too close to Breath of the Wild. They wanted to put some spread. So they're like, oh, let's just make this the holiday game. So this is where, you start to wonder how Nintendo's going to shuffle things up because we haven't had a ton of games the last couple of years during the pandemic. And now Nintendo obviously has a whole bunch of games that are basically just sitting at their place. Like, when do we put these out? Because we're done.
Yeah.
So like that, here's the crazy thing. With this game being done, well, Monolith Soft's working on something else. So don't be surprised if their next game comes sooner than you expect. I don't know about next year, but maybe the year after. Or, we know they have a team helping with Zelda and stuff like that. But again, I think they have 3 teams because they have a new IP they've been working on for a long time as well. So maybe they're going full board on that now. So here's the current lineup that we know. Okay, these are the ones that are dated, and until Nintendo changes it, because apparently they don't care if it's been dated. This is what's happening. So this month, we had Nintendo Switch Sports on April 29th. I think Nintendo thinks that's probably going to sell pretty well based on the old sports game, but we'll see. Depends on how they market it. They can hit that mass market. Ring Fit Adventure took off, so I think they're thinking big things for that one. And then we have a bit of a break until June. Right now, there's nothing slated for May. And then we have Mario Strikers Battle League June 10th. So that's really early in June. And they're doubling up in June again because we're getting Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes on June 24th. So you see that beginning of June, end of June combo. Nintendo, again, proving they're not afraid to have a beginning-end game, which is why I'm not going to rule out Splatoon 3 for July. I do think probably not going to happen. But Xenoblade Chronicles 3 does come out like right at the end, so I have no idea. Then we have Live Alive on July 22nd, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 July 29th. And then we have a bunch of games right now that we have, years or time periods of release, but no actual dates. Splatoon 3 still listed as summer. Right now we don't have an August game. August is part of summer, so maybe it slots in there. I have no idea, right? Like until they announce, I don't know, but for now it's summer. That's June, July, August.
Or it got pushed, and that's why they moved. Well,
I always figured when they said summer,
Yeah.
it kind of like Xenoblade. They're done. They're just figuring out when they want to drop it.
Yeah, I believe too. I think when they actually do a specific day, time of year, summer, they're done. Yeah, the game is done.
Yeah. Like I'm pretty. It's just when do they want to release it? Could they push it back further? Sure. But we'll see. It is a possibility that Splatoon 3 got pushed, and that's why we're getting Xenoblade sooner. I tend to think that's probably not what happened because they were so specific about a time period for it. And you might go, well, they give a time period. Why didn't they give us a date like they did for Xenoblade? And it's like, well, because they were still trying to figure out what part of summer they're going to put it in. Well, I think now they know it's going down to summer. And they probably looked at their summer slate and went, well, we don't really have a big one in the middle or early summer.
Unless it's the very, very end of August then.
Yeah.
Which would be almost a replacement for September.
Sort of, but it's midway through September. And September is usually when like the first kickoff to the holiday season, because that leads us into Halloween in October, and then from there. So we'll see. School starts back up around then, and then so we have that for summer at some point, at least for now. Again, till Nintendo updates it, it's still summer. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, late 2022.
Yeah,
so that's still that November-December period, right? Like you can't think it. I mean, that's as late as it gets. It's November or December. Probably November based on prior Pokemon releases, but November or December. It's one of those 2 months. Bayonetta 3, just general 2022.
Yeah, no date yet.
Based on the way it's lining up, I think the earliest would be August.
Or October.
Latest would be October, at least based on how things are lined up, unless it's a December game and Pokemon's in November, because they do release big games in December too, so we'll see. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. People forget about that game. Still slotted for 2022.
Yeah.
Don't know how development... Well, actually, there was an update on development at the Game Developers Conference. Some developers from Ubisoft that worked on the game talked to some Nintendo Life people and noted that the game is well on track. Like, this isn't like... There was rumors about delays, and it's like, no, we're golden. This is 2022. It's coming.
That's good.
We're not going to tell you when, but it's coming. So, and that... Maybe that's why Xenoblade got pushed, because now Nintendo's got to slot that one in. And Nintendo's like, hey, this last one almost sold...
Right September.
The first one almost sold 10 million. This isn't like a game we just pretend doesn't matter anymore. This could be a big deal. And it's invoking Mario Galaxy vibes. They have a Mario movie coming out. They might want to have a little symbiotic. But again, technically made by a third-party company, and I know Nintendo will decide when it goes out, but okay, so we got that one, and then obviously Breath of the Wild 2 is another announced game that we have a date for. You guys notice I don't have Metroid Prime 4 and other stuff that's been announced because we don't have dates. Without dates, I don't think it's worth talking about.
Yeah, it's not even done yet.
So Breath of the Wild 2, spring 2023, and again, is that game done? Who the hell knows?
Yes, I think it is.
When they give that exact spring 2023, I was kind of like, okay, they're pretty confident there. That tells me it could have came this year, but they looked at the lineup and said, you know what? We need something to kick off next year. We need something to kick off next year with a bang, and we know we can release this game at any time, and it's going to sell. So they looked at it as, hey, we got enough. Now, this obviously leads to speculation on will there be surprise new announcements? Because we normally do not. We normally do not know the entire lineup this early in the year, especially for the second half. There's always surprise announcements, and there's speculation. Yeah, there's speculation to go out there. I'm just gonna toss this out there, and then you guys can have the floor. One, we get something Zelda every year. They push Breath of the Wild. Maybe they move Xenoblade because they're trying to slot in some Zelda remakes.
There you go.
Could be a new Mario game. We haven't had a new Mario since 2017. Now, Bowser's Fury is great, but still is attached to an old Mario game. We haven't had like a brand new mainline core Mario game since 2017. So maybe, hey, guess what? We're going to be done with that. We got to slot that in for the holiday. Let's push Zelda out. I don't know. Yeah. Those are just some random rumblings of me. I've done enough talking. The floor is you guys. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Mike. When it comes to the Mario game, I can say something, and you guys can go fact check it back whenever you can. This is the interview that I did with Samantha Kelly. I know she couldn't speak about what she was doing, but I asked her if she was working. She said she was working. Okay, she was working. So that means that there was work. She did some voiceover work for some future games.
Tell the people, who is Samantha Kelly? Samantha
Kelly is the voice of Princess Peach.
There you go. Yeah, so let me make sure. I don't know if people actually know who the voice actors are besides Charles.
Yeah. So she's the voice of Princess Peach, and I asked her if she was, if there was any work, if she had any work, and she said she was working, and that it was very good, and it was very exciting. So basically, didn't really say much. I'm not even sure she was supposed to say she was working. But I mean, everybody knows she's the voice of Princess Peach, so obviously, they're all.
It's her own personal work. She could always say, "Of course, I'm working. I have a job." Yes, I do have a job.
Yeah,
correct. I do work for a living. I don't live off the government. We're good.
Yeah. So I've been on the Mario train for a while now, about the new Mario game for a while now, and I think that Bowser's Fury was just a taste of what Nintendo's gonna do next with the Mario franchise. And so I'm on that train right now. So I agree with that.
Okay, it's something Mario. I mean, we're so overdue.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we are.
I think we're significantly overdue for Mario Kart, and we're clearly not getting one of those for a while. So.
Oh no, we're not gonna get not this.
No. They're skipping it this gen. It's just, I mean, maybe they. Nah, I was gonna say maybe they think of a cross gen. I don't think they're gonna do that. They're gonna use the push. Eric, you got any thoughts on what could be? I mean,
I know one game you did forget that we do know is coming.
Didn't forget. Because I know what game you're about to bring up, and I do think Nintendo might be considering this in terms of when it's releasing. But I focused on what were exclusive games.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so Sonic Frontier. Just because I was looking at Sonic stuff because I had Sonic on the way for some
Sonic's doing great. The movie's doing fantastic. Big
still have to see that.
I know I haven't seen it yet either.
Yeah,
you gotta tell me. Maybe this weekend we take the kids.
Yeah,
they love the first one, so
yeah,
we'll figure it out. Just not when the Bucks play.
Right. Yeah, right. That's why we pushed the podcast. Oh, wait,
you mean
pulled the podcast? Pulled the podcast? Yeah. But I mean, you guys touched on it. We are so overdue for a Mario game. I know there are so many Zelda games that are, just waiting to be remastered / remade / whatever you want to call it. I mean, you got so much of an old library from even just Nintendo in and of itself that could just randomly surprise you with. It's hard to say what Nintendo's going to do because it's Nintendo. And they ain't going to let you know until they want you to know. So, as much fun as it's predicting, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... So, this is one of the most jam-packed slates we've seen from Nintendo in some time. 2019 was also very packed. And obviously, everyone knows 2017 was bad. I think 2019 actually had more releases. I don't know. Jake Randall's not in the chat to correct me on this because he corrected me on Twitter about it. So, and he listed it was something crazy, like 15, 16 games that were exclusive to the Switch that came out that year.
That's crazy.
So this might not even be the most releases they've had in a year, but again, there's no way we know everything. The big thing is obviously we don't know when things are going to be announced. We do know that there is supposed to be some Pokemon Scarlet Violet news, I think, later this month. Or at least we presume it is that because it was announced that there will be new Pokemon news or new Pokemon game news at a upcoming Pokemon event. So we should be getting Scarlet and Violet news, I think, by the end of the month, which is it's fine. Pokemon Company's going to advertise it all year. But that's not new. That's like a known thing. We know that's coming, and I'm excited to see more of it. But it's when are we going to hear? Because normally at this point, we're looking at it as, okay, we're midway through April. We know E3 is coming. That's the next time Nintendo's announcing. Let's start getting into the E3
No.
rumors and start getting into the E3 speculation. And now we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, like today, Jeff Keighley went out there and said, hey, today's a massive day for meetings for Summer Game Fest. And I'm like, yeah, because, they haven't announced the dates for that yet, which means everything wasn't locked in yet, which obviously leads to speculation of, was he still trying to get Nintendo locked in now that there's no E3? Because Nintendo probably initially committed to E3, and then because they've been there every year, and then now it's like, okay, well, now you're not. Let's see if you want to be part of our show instead. And so we don't know that yet, though, because nothing's been announced. So it's all speculation at this point, or presumptions, or maybe hints that Nintendo would shift over there, since Nintendo is not afraid of running away from where the competition is. When they know that Xbox and Microsoft are both at that event, or Xbox and Microsoft, but same company, Xbox and Sony are both at that event, Nintendo's not going to want to be left out. They're not going to want people at a big event like that to be like, oh, and by the way, forget that Switch exists. Like, no. They're going to want to be there with something, even if it's not a full direct. So I think Nintendo will be present there. But the thing is, we just don't know when they're going to do another big announcement. You figure June, because it's always been June, but we don't know. We are in unknown territory at the moment on when Nintendo is going to do anything but market the games we already know about. Like the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 news today is cool, but it's just marketing a game they already know. We already know about it. You know what's also crazy? I don't ever want to hear that Nintendo can't announce a major game and release it within 5 months, because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
They announced it in February, and we're getting it in July. I never want to hear again from any Nintendo fan that Nintendo can't announce a major game and release it the same year. Happens all the time. Yeah. Numerous examples, and we're having it happen with Xenoblade Chronicles 3. If you want to tell me that's not a major game, get out of here. Monolith Soft is one of Nintendo's largest development studios.
Yeah.
This is a huge game to them. This is a big deal. We got Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition in between, including massive DLC for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is the best-selling Xenoblade Chronicles to date. And I think they're seeing a growing franchise here. And they're going to keep letting Monolith Soft go to town on this. And if you saw that footage, I don't know what they're doing. Monolith Soft's kind of becoming a wizard over there. That footage looked clean.
Yeah.
That gameplay looked clean. And this isn't me saying, because it looks clean, it's coming to the next-gen Switch. No.
Wait. Hold on. No, this has to be a next-gen hardware because it just looks too good.
All right. It looks too good. It's running too smoothly. It's like, no, I think they're just that much better.
Yeah.
They were just later in the cycle, and they've just gotten that much better with their engine and everything else. But it looks really good. Again, people might want us to talk more about Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The whole reason I'm personally not is because I'm not a huge Xenoblade aficionado. I enjoy the games, but I couldn't tell you the story. I couldn't tell you, very specific characters besides like Pyra, Mithra. I know they're the same character, sort of. Well, no, they really are, but like, I don't remember the story reason behind it. I just remember that they are. And then obviously Rex and a few others, Shulk from the original. But like I just know some of the characters, but I honestly didn't beat either Xenoblade Chronicles or Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I got about 3/4 in, and then for some reason just never finished, which is weird because that's kind of where I'm at with Legends Arceus as well. When you were talking about it earlier, I don't know what it is. I was really enjoying it, and then something else came out, and then I just never got back to it.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. Yep.
But I am going to get back to it because while I'm on vacation, it's probably when I'll get to play the most games of my life for the last 10 years. Playing it on the flights, playing it while I'm waiting to get on the boat. When I'm on the boat, late at night, chilling, sitting out on my private little balcony in our suite on the cruise ship, looking out at the stars, taking in the ocean breeze, probably getting nailed by a hurricane, and playing some Switch.
You don't get seasick?
No, I don't get seasick, no.
Dude, man, I've been in one boat, and it's one of those trolley boats that take you from one place to a little island, and that was the worst ride of my life. I was like, the boat was playing just very still, and to me it was like a hurricane.
They do make things for that now, right? You don't have, you can still enjoy boat rides now.
Yeah, the bracelets and all that stuff. It's just
they give you there's actual medication you can take.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's patches that you can throw behind your ear.
Yeah, that make it actually makes a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people that get really seasick now that can enjoy this stuff. They just have to take the proper precautions. But it's like a hurricane when I was out on a little boat, a little wave splashing.
No, the boat was plainly still. I was just over there.
That's when you know you got seasick bad, when it's just it's calm water. And I'm this is not good. This is not solid ground. I could feel the water moves. The boat is not perfectly still. I can feel.
I love land. I love land.
Yeah. When he got back to land, he was kissing the ground.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lord, giving me that solid ground back. That's totally okay. But yeah, they do make things now so people don't have to. So people can enjoy, I guess. I would say, though, before you book a cruise, maybe test it on a small boat first.
Yeah, right.
Make sure you can handle it. Oh,
that gotta work.
That's funny. So, man, the thing is, their slate this year is so strong. It's hard to imagine what else could be. Like, my mind obviously always jumps to Zelda because I'm a big Zelda guy, but also. They have had a Zelda thing come out every year for quite some time. And it feels like if they push Breath of the Wild, I mean, is this when we get Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD that is rumored to they're just sitting on and have done already? And Makes that's sense. Why they push Xenoblade? Because they figure, hey, we think Zelda's going to sell well in the fall? I don't know. And do they want, like if Skyward Sword has a really close connection with Breath of the Wild 2, do they want other Zelda games between those two releases?
That is true. That makes a lot of sense too. That they would not release because they had that plan already to release Skyward Sword, then Breath of the Wild 2 after that, and they would not put anything in between that just so that they don't ruin that connection.
But I could also argue this: Grezzo's been making Zelda games for quite some time, remakes and one original game, anyways. What if a top-down Zelda game's done, and they're just like, hey, no, it doesn't even have to be a remake. What if it's just a brand new one?
Oh man, that would be good.
Because I don't think that's going to be considered an interruption between Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild because it's not the same type of Zelda game. Like they could easily be like, hey, look, last one we dropped was Link's Awakening back in 2019. Well, it usually takes a couple of years to throw one of these things together, and now we're 3. Now we're 3 years. We'd be 3 years removed. So it could be another top-down remake, or it could just be, hey, do you just have an original top-down game ready to go?
Chat threw out DLC for Age of Calamity.
Yeah, it could be DLC for Age of Calamity. Although I will note this, DLC has never been the fill-in for the Zelda game. DLC's never been. Yeah. We've had an actual Zelda game release.
But with your talking, interruption or a game in between, DLC might be perfect enough to just get your Zelda fill, but not, the full game.
No, I hear what you're saying, but they've released Zelda DLC while still releasing another Zelda game.
If they didn't want to interrupt
I know what you're saying.
Skyward Sword to
I'm just a firm belief that there is going to be a Zelda new thing we can't play at the moment, at least currently on Switch dropped this year. And I don't think it's like we're going to get DLC. We get DLC for all the Warrior games. I just don't think that's the fill-in.
Yeah, so I think I got 3 games.
That would be like saying Sunbreak for Monster Hunter means we can't release summer games, and it's like no, we still are getting summer games.
Sunbreak is not it's just a DLC, right? So
it's just DLC. Big DLC, huge DLC, but
it's like another game. They're charging.
It's like an expansion pack.
Yeah. So I have 3 games in mind when it comes to Zelda top-down games that I would love for them to bring. One of them is, of course, Link to the Past, because it's basically the same exact thing as a same exact kind of design-wise. If they were to bring it back, just like they did with Link's Awakening, and then Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages will be the other 2, and they could do like they did with Diamond and Pearl, like just release a double pack. Or that right in the middle, make a lot of money. That
would be nice. Dude, I've been wanting the Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages games to be remade so bad. They're so underrated. They really deserve a whole. I mean, so does the Minish Cap. The whole 3-pack of Capcom Zelda games really deserve more love and attention. But you can argue that, I mean, these days, almost any of the top-down Zelda games really need more love and attention because as amazing as the big 3D games are, like Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, I love all of them. And there's no doubt they're significantly more popular. But I mean, I see the sales on Link's Awakening, matching the old school original sales, surpassing it a little bit on Switch, and it's like, man, it's time. Some of these games that only got a couple mil out the door because they just released timing or whatever it was, like, it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get them some recognition.
Switch has done wonders for
everything.
A lot of games.
Everything.
I mean, Nintendo's a bigger company now than it was when these games first released. So a lot of gamers are not gonna go back and buy old consoles to play these games. So why not bring them to the present so everybody can enjoy them? Mm-hmm. I enjoyed Link's Awakening. I did not play the original one. I played the Link's Awakening remake. I loved it. And I don't think I would have come back and played the original one just because the small screen and stuff. But I really actually enjoyed it, and I think Nintendo should bring those games back and introduce them to a new generation.
Yeah, like it's interesting too because like to Eric's point when he was talking about how everything's just selling better on Switch. I mean, in the UK. We're about a week and a half, 2 weeks away from just boxed retail sales of Kirby and the Forgotten Land becoming the best-selling Kirby game of all time. Which, by the way, we're just talking boxed retail. None of the digital sales are counted, which means it's probably already the best-selling Kirby game of all time in the UK. Mm-hmm. And that's the UK. We already know the numbers are phenomenal, and the next sales update it's probably going to show it's already the best-selling Kirby game Nintendo's ever released. And this is like a consistent pattern for Nintendo with everything. Luigi's Mansion 3, best-selling Luigi's Mansion ever. And it's not even close. Like, I think the last numbers I saw for them were like 9 or 10 mil. Like, that's insane. Luigi's Mansion is selling that.
But it was so good.
I think the only game that maybe didn't do the sales Nintendo hope is a little forgotten game on Switch that for some reason, I don't know why, the Switch effect didn't seem to help it much, and that was the WarioWare game. I don't know what it is about that game. For some reason, the Switch effect didn't really seem to do much for it. Maybe people are just ready for Wario Land to come back.
There you go.
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know why they ever stopped making those games. They were pretty good. I know they were handheld, but they're pretty damn good games.
We might see him again pretty soon. So
yeah. Speaking of handheld,
transition. What
sound effects
was that? What was that?
That's our next topic.
Oh Lord!
like the new sound effects. All right. So, speaking of the whole next topic here, and old consoles and old games coming back. The Nintendo Switch Online is back in the news. I don't know if it ever really leaves the news. It's either in the news because people are pissed off and don't like it, which means it's not really news. It's just a bunch of subjective opinions about wanting to shit on a service that people don't think is good enough, and dreaming of having Virtual Console come back, and bitching about paying for online, and missing a whole bunch of various things that are standard on every other service out there. And yeah, I get it. I agree with pretty much every criticism of NSO that exists. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when the news comes in, it's news about things getting added to NSO. And there was a rumor last year, before we had the N64 and Genesis announced, that we were going to get Game Boy Color, and I don't know if Advance was counted in. It might have been counted in back then. I was trying to look it up, but I was too busy looking at the new news. At least there was rumors about getting those systems added to Nintendo Switch Online. Then people thought maybe those rumors were fake because the N64 got announced. People forget there was actually rumors for the N64 one before the Game Boy one, so I don't really know that matters. And plus, if you're going to start being like, because something released, that means the rest of the rumors are fake. I don't know about that. That seems a little strange. Mm-hmm. Because the rumors for Game Boy never said when they were coming.
Right.
There was not like, we're getting it this year. So like people make presumptions, but if you check the rumors never said when we were getting them, just that they're in the works. Okay, well, this matters because over the last couple of days we had a leak hit 4chan, and 4chan is a great place to leak if you don't want to get caught. It's also a great place to pretend you're leaking things. Because there's no way to verify who you are. And that's what makes it so protective, but also so easy for people to just spread misinformation. So, the guy that we don't cover a ton of 4chan stuff here, unless they're just a really interesting supposed rumor or leak that just is really fun. We covered an old Mario Kart one a few years ago that video blew up and got like 30,000 views, and everyone basically agreed that, hey, we understand why you covered this. This was a really fun thing. Like, God, this is like a Mario Kart of our dreams. Of course, this was a really cool thing. It ain't happening. I made it very obvious this ain't happening, but man, this would be cool. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it is happening. I guess we don't know until the next Mario Kart comes, if any of that's true.
That's Mario Kart.
Mario Kart Crossroads, and all like, who the hell knows if any of that crap's happening? Just like with this, we don't know 100%. But what made this leak different than others is that it was a file leak. Yeah. And it leaked files that do run on Switch and are running on hacked Switches right now. Because, of course, the modding and Switch hacking community got jumped all over these files to see how legit are these. Do these things actually run on Switch? Let's data mine the hell out of these files. Let's figure out who the hell was working on this stuff. And everything in the files points to two things. One, that Nerd is one of the main companies behind it. Nerd has been that's the Nintendo of Europe research and development team. They're the ones that have basically handled all of Nintendo Switch Online, along with the SNES Mini and the NES Mini. They did all the work on all that stuff. So all that emulation, all that. So, okay, that makes sense that then they would be doing this stuff. But they didn't do it alone. There was also like Panasonic Vietnam or whatever is also listed in there somewhere as well. And in trying to confirm all this information, there's just a whole bunch of it out there. Modern Vintage Gamer, who is a game developer. You guys might have heard of him because he frequents on the Spawncast and also on Nate the Hates podcast. But he's an actual game developer and has brought games to Switch. In particular, he really likes bringing retro games back from the dead. He does work for limited run games for people that really love the work they do in making physical copies of Switch indie games. What's interesting is that he said he's skeptical of it because one of the files, in particular for Game Boy Advance, is using Easy Flash, which is something Nintendo has gone after in the past for flash carts and other ways of delivering ROMs. They really did not like it. They've had multiple lawsuits against it. It's like a big red flag. Nintendo would never use that, right? However, obviously Oatmeal Dome is the one who noted that, hey, Nintendo's not the only one that worked on these. So did Panasonic Vietnam, which might have been willing to use Easy Flash because Easy Flash is just an already existing way to compile the games to run. There's basically not a reason to not use it besides the fact that Nintendo just doesn't like that people stealing their games were using it. But it works. So like, do you want to develop something from the ground up or not? We know Nintendo has factually resold us on Virtual Console ROMs dumped by other people on the internet. So Nintendo isn't necessarily against using things that they actively try to stop for their own benefit. So they might be against Easy Flash if you're using it, but if they're using it, they're cool with it. So there is evidence to suggest that Nintendo wouldn't necessarily write it off. On top of that, another big figure in the world of emulation and bringing old school games back basically said, and this is Luigi Blood, he has a different name, but that's his user tag on Twitter. He put out there that he actually sees this Easy Flash as basically a confirmation that this is real. But he can't really dive into the details of it because of the various projects he's working on, NDAs that he's under. But he basically just said, hey, I know this seems like a red flag, but this is actually like a confirmation in his mind. So there's all of that. So again, probably coming, but we can't 100% say that this stuff is legit. There is at least one red flag, but then there's a bunch of other stuff. And then I think one thing Oatmeal Dome noted is that, well, the stuff he found doesn't confirm that it's real. He did note that it's if it's fake, it's an extremely elaborate, very difficult to do fake in the way Nerd and Panasonic Vietnam are listed on the files. Now, it can be faked, but it would take a lot of time and a lot of dedication. Now, we shouldn't doubt the time and dedication of people that want to fool people. But we've never seen a fake to this extreme happen if this is fake. So this would be a first. So I'm just providing all the context and information so you guys know what's going on here, because there's been updates since I made my video, and I just want to make sure that when we talk about this, we have the full context. You guys know I fully believe context is everything. You need to know the story so far. Also, what happened is we have a list of supposed games that leaked from for Game Boy Advance, and these are games that were supposedly tested on the emulator, and the list is quite huge. In fact, that's the wrong link. I might have put the wrong link in. Oh wait, no, it's right here. Yeah, I clicked on the wrong one. Yeah. So there's a huge list of Game Boy Advance games. A couple of notable things, by the way, before I talk about this list of Game Boy Advance games, is that the reason we don't have like a general list of Game Boy and Game Boy Color games is because it appears that each game is its like own emulator. So they didn't make it like a general emulator that just plays a bunch of games. They made it where it's game specific, which is how they used to do it on Virtual Console back in the day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that maybe they're doing that again. Maybe they just want to not make the mistakes they made with the N64 emulator, which had a bunch of problems that they, hey, to their credit, they did patch a lot of them. So kudos to them for that. The Game Boy Advance one has a huge list of games. The only ones that we know that there's ones that were in the folder for sure at one point, and then these are other ones that seem to be listed in the files. So the ones that were in the actual folder that they play tested with the current build were Car Battler Joe, Castlevania Circle of the Moon, Choo Choo Rocket, Harvest Moon, Friends of Mineral Town, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Koro Koro, Puzzle, Happy Pain Chew, Lufia, The Runes of Lore, Mario Party Advance, Mega Man Battle Network 5, Team Proto Man, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, Red Rescue Team, and that's it. Those are the ones that were factually in the folder at one point, tested on this version of the emulator. And then there's a whole bunch of them that are also listed in the files that look like that they've been tested at one point, from everything from Astro Boy to the Minish Cap and Wario Land and Mr. Driller 2, Metroid Fusion, Zero Mission, I should say, and Metroid Fusion, Mega Man, a whole bunch of games. I'm not going to go over the entire list at the moment. So first off, what are your guys' thoughts on this leak, and do you think it's real? And do you think that this is the next big addition to Nintendo Switch Online?
Go for
Take
it,
it away.
Mike. No, go for it, Mike.
So I think it's first thing. I think it's real. I think it's real. I think we're expecting it. I think that's not. I think that's what leaked. So to me, I'm very optimistic. I think that's just what leaked. Those.
And these fit with the rumors from last year.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was already evidence supporting that this stuff was going to happen, and it is weird to see it leak. But it also, a rogue Nintendo employee on 4chan. It's not like it's never happened before. So
right.
You can't. Don't talk to me about 4chan. I thought 4chan was a guy.
Yeah, 4chan is a man, the direct source.
Yeah,
everything posted there is by the same person.
Yep.
Yeah, all hail 4chan. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's real. I think it's coming, and I think that's just part of it. I think what, Nintendo is really, believe it or not, people think that Nintendo is not, looking at what's going on with the landscape of what subscription models are becoming, and yeah, it's taking them a little bit to get there. They're adding consoles at the same, little by little, and they're adding games little by little. But I think there's gonna come a point where Nintendo's gonna say, you know what, we need to drop something. Maybe they'll drop not just these Game Boys, but the Game Boy lineup, the Game Boy brand of consoles, like Game Boy, Game Boy SP, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, and drop that together. In an update instead of just this is the Game Boy, because isn't Game Boy and Game Boy Color the same exact thing, just with a little color? You know what I mean? So
a lot of people would debate that this should be separate generations, but Nintendo counts them in the same generation, and Game Boy Color games cannot be played on Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Okay,
so they are exclusive.
I guess
that's why some people think it should be its own thing, but. Guys, there's exclusive new 3DS games as well, exclusive DSi games. It's not like Nintendo hasn't repeatedly done this.
All that also all that matters is what Nintendo says.
It is their system. They say it's the same generation. You sorry.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw something out there. Okay, this is recorded. Today is what's today? April
19th. Yeah. 2022.
Yeah.
2022. So. I believe Nintendo has something under, up their sleeves, okay? Because, this is just what leaked, but I think there's more coming, and I think there's a new direct pretty soon. Nintendo has not, Game Fest needs to tell us when they're gonna do the Game Fest.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's what I think the meetings were today. I think Jeff Keighley wanted to get things locked in, which is why he hasn't announced. Because after E3 was canceled, like I'm sure he had like a preliminary plan and some dates.
Yeah.
But then E3 announced it's canceled, and he's like, "Wait a second, let me reach out to all these companies that were thinking about that instead, and see if we can get them with us." And then now they need to have all the meet. Well, again, he had a whole day of meetings, so we'll see. I predict we're gonna get an announcement before the end of this month about when.
And I think Nintendo had their lineup, their lineup for E3. I think they had their presentation set for E3.
Oh, guaranteed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and because it was canceled, they were forced to kind of reorganize, and I think that's what we got in Play Chronicles 3 earlier. They're kind of reorganizing a few things.
That would have been crazy if they shadow dropped that updated date at E3 when it's like a month away. That would have been insane. People would have went nuts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People would have been nuts. Oh, by the way, you can play this next month. What? Wait, hold up. That would have been huge.
Yeah, I mean, I believe it. Nintendo does whatever they want.
We know that.
So yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna throw it out there. Okay, the Game Boy lineups of all the Game Boys. Okay, Game Boy, not the Nintendo DS, Nintendo brand handheld, but Game Boys. I'm gonna Nintendo Online, and I'm gonna put a cherry on top called GameCube.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh no. You're going to a place Nintendo seems afraid to go.
Yeah, right.
Nah, they're gonna go there.
What makes you think they're going to go there anytime soon?
I got my sources.
Huh? Ooh. Ooh.
Damn it.
Ooh.
The voice of Peach is telling you too much. She's learning too much, damn it.
Yeah, right.
So we get a little bit of an exclusive news drop right here, a little exclusive rumor.
I got my sources, dude. I got my sources. I gotta keep it quiet because.
Yeah, there you go. Well,
you gotta keep it quiet so you mention it on a public podcast.
Yeah,
You literally might have just given me my video for the morning. Thank you.
No, you must give us your sources, obviously.
You don't have to give me.
God.
But if I do make a video tomorrow, I do apologize for the attention that comes your way that helps you get to 10,000 subscribers.
Right. But yeah, I believe wholeheartedly. Yeah, it's not only.
Well, I'm gonna mark this point in the video so I know to go back to it. I might need to clip that out for. Right. I'm sorry. When I hear Nintendo Academy tells me he's got his sources,
right.
I'm starting to think I have a nice little 10-minute speculation video dropping tomorrow.
Well, dude, I have something to confess. Okay, I got something to confess. Okay,
you just made it up. Damn it!
I'm not. No, not about that. I am not the biggest fan of Skyward Sword on the Switch. Right?
Sure. So a lot of people aren't.
So I didn't really play Skyward Sword. So when I was actually, I made a video and I said, okay, there's a villain from Skyward Sword that they think it's gonna be in Breath of the Wild 2. I just Googled the villain and the one that came up was that guy. So I just
when you made that video,
yeah,
people were coming at you like he's not the real villain.
Exactly. So,
I sat there. I think I commented to him like I'm pretty sure he hasn't played Skyward Sword.
Yeah, but exactly, I haven't, and I think I actually played it this time a little bit and didn't finish it. But
it's okay. You don't like the game. It's all right.
What the emo said was the villain from.
How dare you?
From Skyward Sword, the villain from Skyward Sword. I'm like, okay, I gotta give this villain a name because people are not gonna listen. So I went and Google.
Yeah, I gotta give a name, and so you came with Gary.
This purple guy came up, and okay, that purple guy.
Since you're not going to play the game, it's Demise. I'll just spoil it for you. It's Demise.
Yeah, I heard it.
People corrected you enough in the comments, I think, on that one.
Oh, yeah, I heard it, and I heard it.
You sure it wasn't Groose?
I got a couple. I got a couple emails.
Groose Land, the Pompadour. He's the real villain.
You got a couple emails, yeah. Ooh.
Got a couple emails.
There you go.
Yeah. But a lot of the things that I heard that I've heard makes sense now.
See, Demise being
a lot more, a lot more.
So you hold on. So bringing this up, recap what you were saying in that video without obviously inserting Girahim now.
Without
the incorrect assumption because you didn't play the game.
Yeah. So what I stated in that video was that. Breath of the Wild was going to take place present and past. There's certain points where it's present and past. That's why there was one of the names, I think it was a Return to the Past or something like that. I can't remember the names right now. But the villain was going to be the villain from Skyward Sword,
Demise in
and
this
that
case. Yeah.
Ganon wasn't going to be a main villain. He was going to be in it, but he's not a main villain. He's like a puppet.
Which
basically
would make sense to Demise. If you guys don't know the story of Skyward Sword, Ganon only has his power because of Demise's curse. Demise was actually the big baddie in the entire series. We've just only seen him once.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically that's what the emo said. The big bad guy is the one from Skyward Sword. Ganon's gonna be in there, but he's not gonna play a role. He's not gonna play that big role. He's gonna have a role.
Yeah, he's gonna be like the guy we see most of the game, but really the big baddie's Demise in the end.
He's gonna make you believe like he's the villain, but he's not, and then so on.
And by the way, Zelda has a history of doing that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
pretty typical Zelda storytelling. Although they've never done it with Ganondorf, so that will be very interesting. Watching him be the puppet, and he literally can only be the puppet to one. There's only one thing above him in the whole series. So,
yeah. And as I was doing some more research on my own, I figured out maybe Link goes back into the past, and then he occupies the body of the first Link, the legend, the myth, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And that's the one we see with that robe on.
yeah. Wouldn't that be interesting if that is actually the Link that predates Skyward Sword?
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Could be.
I mean, there's a lot to think about there, and then you throw in, all the other Skyward Sword references. It's so many at this point. Obviously, we're in the Skyfall, into the Sky Islands. Okay, yeah, Skyward Sword. Haven't seen Flight yet. That's a Skyward Sword thing. But one thing that I think is the biggest indicator that Skyward Sword has something to do with this game, and this could potentially have time travel or something, I have no idea, is the glowing Master Sword on Link's back that he grabs and he keeps looking at it like the sword itself is talking to him. Which, that is Fi. That is Skyward Sword. It's the only time it's ever happened in the series is when it's been... So, like... and by the way, it would make sense if the sword in the way that it's in, that would mean the seal is broken and Demise is out. This is all making sense now.
Holy crap!
It makes sense because in order to fix the sword, he needs to travel to the past, where the sword was created, and that's why he's in the past. He takes out the sword. Maybe he's about to do something with the sword to maybe repair it.
Gosh.
In order to defeat Demise.
Oh
Dude, we're just spoiling everything for everyone.
Yeah, we just watch this be like watch this just all be true.
Yeah, right.
And we're like, hey, you heard it here first.
Yeah,
Right,
podcast.
Right. Mike and Nate breaking it down.
But I'm telling you, if it's true, I'm still excited for that.
See, now I feel like I got to release an update video on that rumor now. Oh boy, oh boy. But I mean, first I got to cover GameCube because that's just huge. If you notice how he quickly made us gloss away from the GameCube stuff.
Right.
But by the way, I've got my own sources. GameCube's happening. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
right.
yeah. By the way, anyways, moving on.
But by the way, look at that shiny thing over there.
So GameCube. So I obviously don't know who your sources are, and I'm not going to bother to ask. That's your own private stuff. I trust you enough to not just put out any random fake crap you hear on the internet because there's a bunch of that bullshit out there.
You know, there's a possibility that the Game Boy might be part of the first tier.
Yeah, I think a lot of people kind of assume Game Boy Color could be that. Game Boy Advance would be like the expansion. It could all be part of that though, and if they're going to add GameCube in, that could be the expansion. Too, because like Game Boy Advance, you can kind of liken that similar to the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
But
I had a completely different idea on that one.
What do you got?
So, looking at the N64 NSO release was in September.
Yeah, they've done it it's been in September for every time they've announced.
So it pushed Xenoblade Chronicles up. Yeah, but and then you get your
I don't think
NSOs.
they've ever pushed the September game for NSO.
I'm joking.
I don't think that's ever happened. But it is funny.
Game Boy
cleared the way. Yeah. No, why? It's because GameCube's coming. And it's such a big deal.
Right.
We need to clear September out.
Yeah.
For the 32 million that are subscribed to NSO. You other 70 plus million, fuck you. We don't care that you actually want to play new games.
Right.
We care about the 32 million that might maybe have like a million of you try out one.
But no, saying it's true, I mean, that'd be awesome. But I was actually thinking instead of GameCube, I could see him pairing along with the Game Gear because they did the Genesis already, and that's kind of in that same ballpark of Game Boy, Game Gear. Those handhelds, kind of the same time frame. So
That would be interesting. And by the way, we had no rumors on Genesis. So if Game Gear is coming, it's not like we'd even know.
Yeah.
And it would make sense because we don't really get re-release of Game Gear anywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, they did it with the Genesis, so I would not be shocked if they did the Game Gear.
Then, and by the way, has there even been speculation on is Genesis all we're going to get from Sega? What about the Sega CD? What about Dreamcast?
Yeah, right.
And we just got reports today that major games from Dreamcast are coming back. Jet Set Radio, Crazy Taxi. They're apparently making brand new high budget games or whatever. I didn't put a video out on it today, but Sega definitely looks like they're revisiting their past, which is awesome. It's
all coming. Nintendo.
But here's the thing: at what point? And I'm an NSO detractor, who is fully subscribed to NSO because
you gotta play online.
I don't pay for it.
Well, yeah, that too.
No, but I literally don't pay for it. Thanks, Corey Bohm, by the way. Shout out to you for adding me to your family plan.
Nice.
He just said, "Hey, I already have this thing paid for. Do you want to join it?" I'm like, if I've got to pay for it, I guess I'll join.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone will join for free. That's
right.
The problem is paying money.
Right.
But it's funny because I still don't really feel like NSO is that great. And it's like, at what point is there just enough of the classics consoles and games where I go, this is undeniably a good value? And at what point do I get there? Is it when GameCube's added? Is it after, hey, if we had Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, hey, we've never had that wide of a selection of handheld on even Virtual Console. We're getting to the point where we're getting stuff that wasn't on Virtual Console. We're not surpassed the total amount of games yet, unless you count all the Sega Genesis games, because we never really had those. But Sega, the problem with me trying to count that as this counts against Virtual Console is how many times has Sega re-released these games? A lot. So many different mini systems, so many different collection packs. So I'm not really going to count it. It's more okay. Sega's just looking for another way to get a check from Nintendo. It's cool. But they start adding Dreamcast and Game Gear and Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, GameCube. At that point, it's almost look, at some point, this is almost too many classic games to start to say that this is not better than Virtual Console. And I understand some people will never budge off of that because I own my games on Virtual Console. Sure.
Until they shut the server down.
Until they shut the servers down like they're doing right now, and then your Wii breaks, and then you can't download them anymore, and then
or they come out.
There's a reason why they're shutting everything down. There's one reason why everything is going down is because
they won't shut the service.
Nintendo's is building. They're building up. Either they're not giving you everything at the same time, but they're building up little by little. I expect from here 2 years from now, we're gonna have all the retro consoles. When I mean retro, is from, let's say, GameCube and down. Every single console that came from GameCube and down, plus the Wii, and then from here to 2 years, that's what I feel like we're gonna see.
That's insane.
I don't think.
What are your sources say? When's GameCube dropping? Is that this year or next year?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You mean you're just unwilling to say?
One day. I hope.
So I'm fishing. I gotta fish. I gotta cast the line.
He's shooting his shot.
Trying to get a little extra. Look, if we're getting Game Boy this year, are they somehow dropping GameCube as well and just gonna blow our mind?
Could be 4 years from now.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Could be 4 years from now, but he'll look back and say, "See, I called it 4 years ago."
To be fair, he said, "Hey, if we read into what he said within the next couple of years, GameCube and Wii."
Yeah, true.
Now he never said he had a source on Wii, so that could just be speculation.
Yeah.
But do you remember how they introduced the Nintendo 64?
I don't know. They just dropped it.
Yeah, they dropped the Nintendo 64, and all of a sudden they go, whoop, and they brought the Genesis right next to it.
Yeah.
Nobody was expecting it. So you can expect something similar to that. Game Boy.
Yeah.
I mean, are you telling me this based on sources or speculation? I'm all confused now.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. I'm in La La Land, and I can see Mike over there as being so careful at what can I say, what can I not say.
Yeah, I don't want to. Let me where's my phone?
Yeah,
I don't want to. I probably got like 10 texts away. What are you doing? Shut up.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like he's dancing that fine line of like, look, I'm allowed to mention I know something, but I can't tell you what I know. But then I'm also speculating about the things I know. So then how much of the speculation is real speculation when I know?
Yeah. Right.
I know what I know, but I'm trying to speculate around what I know without acting like I know.
I'm waiting for Mike's power to just go out.
The Nintendo Ninjas are already at the door. There's that lawsuit going on where someone might have been Nintendo might have been doing some surveillance on a former employee or whatever, getting those ninjas involved. Well, what they don't tell you is those Nintendo Ninjas are at Mike's door right now waiting. They're just waiting for the stream to end. They don't want to do it live.
Yeah, right.
The moment the stream ends, we will never hear from Mike again.
No, actually, as the stream goes, you'll see like that color of the police outside.
It'd be like, oh shit, Mike's going down. Well, he's going down. We might as well report on the final things that Mike ever told us what was happening.
If that happens,
next
just
couple of years,
screaming out all you know.
They're busting his door down. We're done.
If that happens, just start screaming out everything you know.
And he just said, "Hey, Game Boy," and then they're gonna go, "Whoop! Here you go. Here's GameCube." Like what? Okay, Game Boy to GameCube. What is happening? Oh boy.
They can introduce. They can say, "Oh, hey, good news! We're adding more games to the starter pack. $19.99. You're gonna get the Game Boy games." And all of a sudden, expansion pack. What are you gonna get? GameCube. There you go.
So here's what I'll say about NSO. Let's presume that we are gonna get all this Game Boy stuff, and we are going to, as Mike basically told us, we're going to get GameCube, and he thinks we're gonna get Wii. He won't confirm whether or not he's heard that we're gonna get Wii. He's going to keep his mouth shut on that, which just makes you presume that he heard we're going to get Wii. So, getting GameCube and Wii at some point. As the Nintendo Ninjas are not going to come to my door. Now I know too much.
Yeah, right.
Yoshi, I'm sorry. You need to protect me. I have a Yoshi, right? That gives me extra life.
Yeah,
Can I rip off his mushroom head?
Toad.
Toad. Yoshi's back there. I have a Yoshi on my set. I know it. Anyways.
You just have to punch him into a pit so you can jump the gap.
Is there any way I can disguise my voice?
Yeah, right. We need to go back into the podcast and black him out and blur his face and change his voice.
Oh, man. So, presuming all this happens, which I think people would go nuts if GameCube and Wii get added.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's like so unexpected. Nintendo values that stuff so much. They remake, re-release, etc. It would be insane. And I've always said, Switch is a good time to do Wii in particular because it still has the motion controls and can do probably most of those games. What I find interesting, though, and I think this is where I will understand if NSO has real value, and that is, will all of this finally fucking carry over to the next system?
Yeah, there's that.
Yes, it will. I believe it will. I think everything is being built on the cloud. Everything we see here is a cloud where we download an app and we play from the app.
Yeah, well, that's how they've been doing it with the NSO stuff, but we're still playing it on emulation locally on the system.
Yeah.
So that's the problem, is moving that to new hardware isn't always like, it just works. And that's been the issue in the past where Nintendo's like, you got to buy all the Virtual Console games again on the next system. Like, if this stuff fully transfers over to the next Switch, like we just have this entire NSO library still there day one on the next platform, then I start to understand NSO, because then they're like, of course we want to cancel the old Virtual Console, get the hell off of there. We want you perpetually subscribed to a service that's always growing.
Yep.
Of course, I don't know how the hell they're going to grow after Wii, because then after that you get to Wii U, and they already brought most of the Wii U shit over.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but that's why they're partnering with Sega. And then the next thing you know, they're going to shock the world and we're getting PS1.
Oh, Jesus.
By the time we get to Wii U, we'll be in the Nintendo future.
No, well, what's going to happen is once we get to the Wii, which I think is probably the top end they're going to go for a while. I don't think they're going to touch Wii U for at least a decade plus.
Yeah.
It's one of those where they can start being like, okay, well, let's start going back and grabbing other, like, can we talk to TurboGrafx, the people who own the rights to that? Can we get that over? Talk to Atari, let's get their stuff over. Can we talk, I think, because we see with Sega, I don't think that's the only partnership they're going to consider. I think it's the only thing they're worried about for now, because they see a path there where we can get Sega Saturn over, Sega CD, we can get Sega Dreamcast, Game Gear, and that can help float us when we run out of our own platforms we're willing to do. But then once we're done with that, this sets us up to be like, hey, I know we kind of swore off like the CDI, but we got Nintendo games on the Philips CDI. Let's just go throw that on there as a classic. Hey,
Yeah, right.
you know what? Virtual Boy, when we make it so our next system has VR, you can go ahead and play the old school Virtual Boy games on here if you want. I could just see Nintendo being like, look, we're going to make this the ultimate classic service.
Yeah.
Game like Xbox has their service that goes back in time on their own Xboxes, and then also provides you all the brand new games that come out with Game Pass. Well, look, we're not going to do that because we're making way too much money selling $60 a pop for 5 years straight. But what we will do is give you the single best classic game service you can get.
Wouldn't surprise me if they threw Atari in there too.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, they'll go after all those older platforms that we're not even thinking of right now. Once they run out of their own and be like, hey, dude. They just keep adding. And this is in addition to the fact that it's like, oh, there's so many SNES games you haven't gotten yet. Yeah, and they might still be adding SNES games for the next decade. So, this...
Yeah. It's
So
like-
at what point do I just have to admit that NSO, at least when it comes to the games, is a good deal?
2023.
There you go. He gave me the date I was looking for.
Yeah, there you go.
He gave me the date. We're going to have Wii and GameCube by 2023.
Imagine ColecoVision.
And ColecoVision? Why not? Why not? Like, this is insane. Like, I don't know if anyone's had that speculation that Nintendo will go beyond Sega and adding companies.
Yeah, it won't surprise me.
But, like, I agree that I don't think they'd ever go beyond Wii. I don't even know if they would go beyond GameCube. But...
Yeah.
I mean, if they did do GameCube, I mean, might as well do Wii. It's very similar to the same technology. I mean, heck, you can run them on the same emulators on PC. Man, that's
Do we have-
arcade games too. Yeah, Nintendo has like re-released their arcade games here and there. I could see them add the
Commodore
service.
Is
Commodore.
Ninja Turtles part of the Nintendo Online?
Do we have any Turtle games on Nintendo Online? Oh, there's a ton of TMNT games that have been on Nintendo platforms. I'm not sure if there's any. I don't really play
Yeah.
this stuff.
Well, the Cowabunga collection's coming out too, so.
Well, we know about that.
Yeah.
But that they're always going to have the collections come out
Right.
and make money off them. Like
Yeah,
the games being on the service don't preclude them re-releasing and selling them.
But you know what could also add value to the service is that if Nintendo goes the route of what Microsoft did with some developers, because what developers have done with Xbox Live is that they tell Microsoft, okay, we'll put our game on Xbox Live if you give us so much upfront, like a fee, just a one-time fee to have that game on Xbox Live. I got this from this article that I read from Phil Spencer. He details how Xbox Game Pass got bigger, and it's because a lot of developers who normally wouldn't make that much money selling their games on their own, they would say, okay, we'll agree to put our game on Game Pass for this amount and this one fee, and that's good for Nintendo if they do that, because they have a subscription model, so they'll keep making money on that game for years to come. So if Nintendo goes that route, then we might be able to see third-party Nintendo games from NES, Super NES, that we haven't seen yet. So far, we've only seen a couple of first-party games from Nintendo, and maybe one or two third-party games. I think there's so many other games that have not made it to Nintendo for NES, Super NES, Nintendo 64 from third-party developers that can come to NES. How about developers? Well, I don't think that could be a thing now, but I'm saying I was gonna go as far as saying, how about developers, since they have Nintendo 64 online, keep making games for that console and just submitting it to that console as a new game for 64.
Yeah, we do get like new
That'd be
classic
awesome.
console releases like once in a blue moon. It very rarely happens.
Very
and like
rare,
people don't talk about that too, by the way. And as like an added benefit to NSO over Virtual Console is that Nintendo does take every multiplayer game, makes it online, which is different.
That is different, and that's actually an upgrade to the game, because you're playing a lot of these games that you.
Some of them have leaderboards even that never existed before.
Yeah, so Nintendo's actually taking these games and upgrading them a lot,
Yeah. And I don't think people talk about that enough. And the thing is, like, people probably think, "Oh, Nate, now you're starting to love NSO." No, I'm loving the idea of what NSO might become.
Exactly. Yeah.
I still don't think it's really worth it at this moment. But they add. I mean, we're talking about 5 new systems at this point: Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, GameCube and Wii. I'm sorry, that's like double what it is right now. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I'm sorry, for me, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance was more my childhood than even the home consoles were. Because that's what I was playing a lot on. Like, we were originally going to have a conversation of which games we wanted to come over. But, like, at this point, I'm already thinking beyond to GameCube at this point, since, I mean, Mike has basically all but just told me it's going to happen. Just won't tell me when, although then it's 2023. So he kind of gave me a time frame that by the end of a certain year, there should be something. But so now I'm already thinking about GameCube stuff, because GameCube was like my high school years were GameCube. So I played the hell out of GameCube games.
Wasn't there a patent recently released for a controller that it's for Nintendo that kind of looked like a controller, but they're not gonna put the same controller. They're not gonna map it exactly how it is. They're gonna give you
it was a really weird patent.
Yeah,
really funky. It was almost like a SNES looking N64 controller. It was weird.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It didn't have the bottom part or anything like that. It was just like
but basically that giant part that they have is supposedly a massive rumble motor for some reason.
Something like that, yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is their version of trying to put an HD rumble into a more classic controller form. But then I kept trying to think, like, what other... Because I'm thinking, I looked at that patent, and I couldn't really figure out that controller really mimics any particular system, third party or other. Like, I looked at all Sega systems. Like, it doesn't really mimic anything that I could find. So I kept wondering, what the hell is the point of this controller? Other than, I guess, adding Rumble to games that didn't have it, or maybe giving us a way to enjoy Rumble. I don't know. And the thing is, that's assuming that controller ever comes out. Nintendo does a billion patents, and we talk about a lot of them, and half the time nothing happens. But, and heck, sometimes they show you a product and it doesn't come out. Wii Vitality Sensor, infamous.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sleep, never came out. Like, we hear about products, we see products, and then they just never come out. Nintendo's health initiative, they had a whole bunch of stuff around that, and then just nothing ever happened.
Are you seriously telling me you were really expecting Pokemon Sleep to come out?
When the Pokemon Company announces it next to other major Pokemon games, it definitely sounds like something that they are being serious about, at least at that time.
But the thing is that it never woke up.
Yeah.
Got me. Damn. I walked into that one.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I don't know, man. That, like, it sounds like the future potential of NSO is crazy.
It's always had massive potential.
But again, here's the thing. That's the big gripe, though, is that it's good. That, like, I've talked about the potential of, hey, what if all future Nintendo exclusive paid DLC is on this thing? So far, we've had 2 in a row land. What if all of it's just going to be there? Age of Calamity, DLC is part of it. Hasn't been announced yet. We know what's coming. Hasn't been announced yet. We presume DLC. Even maybe Kirby has DLC for some. For ungodly. I don't actually think it will. But let's say it did. I can see that being part of. Like, I always thought about it. Man, for just DLC alone, has a potential great. Like, my thing is, if all future game DLC was going to be on there, if Nintendo's not telling us that, they're being stupid, because they can get a lot of money right now.
Oh yeah.
Right now, people will buy in if they know every game they buy in the future, their DLC is going to be on here.
Yeah,
they're like, that's just such a massive selling point. If Nintendo's missing the boat on that, that's their own problem. But like, that's like just speculation on something Nintendo has never even hinted at. Nintendo has been consistently adding new systems. We do have legitimate leaks and rumors around new systems. You got your source on another system not even being talked about at this point, and we're getting to this point where, okay, that's cool. But when are people going to say it's enough to get over the fact that Nintendo Switch Online is missing basic functionality?
Dude, that GameCube controller, the wireless one, it's going to be awesome. That Rumble on it?
We'll see. I don't know if it's ever coming out. It doesn't look like a GameCube controller. That's the thing.
The wireless GameCube, I think Nintendo's going to buck on that too. They're going to, they released for Nintendo online. The
Yeah,
NES.
a lot of the thing with it is figuring out, like, everyone thinks wireless GameCube, they think Waybird, and Nintendo lost a massive lawsuit over it. It turns out they stole some technology for it, so you know. And hey, they actually lost a lawsuit, guys. Believe it or not, Nintendo did steal something. But that doesn't mean they can't redo it and find a new way to do it. I mean, they're gonna have wireless ones. It's fine.
That's the new GameCube controller, the one the patent.
That's what it is.
They can't do the Wavebird, so they had to come up with a whole brand new thing.
Look and be like the Wavebird because they lost, so they gotta make it look just. It's a SNES controller with a control stick and the GameCube button layout. Have a good day.
You're right.
Yeah.
With massive analog triggers. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with all of that. But I still get back to that point. Like, at what point is it enough that people will say, but what about the basic functionality? What about the lack of voice chat without using my phone on an app on the phone that's barely updated and barely even supported and barely even used in games? Like, what is there now? 2 games you can use on it? Ooh. It's been how many years, and we have 2 total games with voice chat on there. Yay. That is so exciting, Nintendo. Why can't I voice chat in all of your online games?
Right.
Why am I not able to trash talk people in Smash Bros? Oh wait, because you can't even get the matches to not of course you can't do voice chat for that. Well, but it's like you don't even do voice chat in all of your online games, and then only 2 of them are to the app. I get better voice chat on free to play games. You know, because they just have it locally on the system. Plus, those free to play games happen to have messaging, so I can literally message my friends through Fortnite. Then I can't do it anywhere else on my Switch. Like, it's weird, and so, like, you're missing some of this basic functionality. And as much as I think the game service is great, I almost feel like it should just be its own service, separate. They're not going to do that, but because a lot of people are not going to be, no matter how many classic systems you add, they're not, or how much DLC you put in, no matter how much you make the actual money proposition look great. They're not going to be able to get past the fact I'm paying for something that doesn't even give me the basics that you get for free on many other places, including our phones. So I don't know if people are ever going to be able to get over that. Now, it doesn't mean Nintendo won't ever add that functionality on their next platform. I fully think NSO is going to get a bit of a revamp on the next platform. I don't think, as an example, we're going to be waiting the entire generation to get Bluetooth headset support. And I think that's just going to be their day one. If it's not their day one, then they're still taking steps backwards for some ungodly reason. You know, it would be nice if they had used better technology than Bluetooth to connect their controllers, because Bluetooth is kind of a fuzzy. Just a lot of interruptions in the airwave and a lot of latency issues.
There's a lot of Bluetooth things out there now.
And plus, then you can leave the Bluetooth dedicated to the headphones and get the best possible audio quality through that actually have really better connections for Joy-Cons. Yeah. But that's again, though, then Nintendo would have to say, but then we got to give up cross-compatibility. Like, no, you can still make the other ones compatible. Just do what Xbox did. You can still use the Bluetooth controllers if you want, but they also have their own wireless technology that doesn't get interrupted. Which is why the connection with Xbox controllers is so great, and people don't really care to have to plug it in wired because the latency is just fine. So yeah, I don't know at what point the NSO becomes worth it, just from a basic feature set. But when it comes to, hey, you want a library of classic games, if this hits, I mean, I know Mike over there is pretty confident it's about to slap. End of 2023. It's going to be like, look, if you've ever enjoyed a classic Nintendo platform and you don't have this, you're dumb. By the way, it doesn't mean that I'm ever going to care because, again, I don't replay old games. It's just the way I am. I just don't replay old games. I already played them. I'm good.
Yeah,
now, I say that at my Prime Gaming Fest, I guarantee we're going to have a few classic game multiplayer matches happening. And Eric will probably be just as inexperienced as me because neither one of us will have played them in like forever.
Right.
The moment they add Conker's Bad Fur Day original N64 with the multiplayer back, that might be a chance that I actually hop on. I miss that old school multiplayer. Like, I know that they have it on Xbox, guys, but it's a completely different multiplayer mode. So, anyways,
touching a bit on that, the basic functionality. The basic
Funko
functionality.
Pops.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So basically, touching on that a little bit, I feel Nintendo is not going to do it until they have the technology to do what they want to do with that. Because in the console itself is always been like a family console. And for example, if you're gonna go play on Xbox and talk over the chat with somebody, it's not always gonna be rated PG. It's always gonna be over the R area. So
it's not on your phone either.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. Of course. But I feel like on the console itself, I think until technology doesn't come to where Nintendo needs it to be, for them to implement that feature safely.
So then why do they let other companies still have voice chat? I understand what you're saying, but they're letting other people do it anyways.
Other companies take the legality from it.
Yeah. So it's like the game itself has voice chat, then the game is responsible for anything that happens within their own game.
Well, couldn't Nintendo?
I'm guessing they have to sign.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if people are trash talking on Call of Duty, Microsoft's not responsible for that.
Yeah.
So I don't really know why that matters.
Mm-hmm. I'm seeing it as the way as Apple sees their own devices. How they don't
they're late to the party
devices.
with basic functions, but then when they come,
they don't
heavily
they don't open their software to third party companies just like that, willy nilly. They're very guarded to where with their services.
Sure.
Where so that the phone can actually function well how it does. And if they actually do release an update, it's not about when to release it; it's how to release it. Releasing it the right way instead of just releasing it. You know what I mean? That's how I see them not releasing.
But it's so weird because Nintendo's had voice chat before. Wii U had it. Even the Wii had it. Technically, not a lot of people used it. I had one of those silly, stupid Wii Speaks, but it was the dumbest way to voice chat. Why can't I just use a headset? Nope. You need to have a global microphone that picks up everything in the room. Mm-hmm. That's the best way to keep people safe, Nintendo. But that's the thing, though. Like, they literally had video chat on Wii U. And so it's kind of like where people get upset is Nintendo did have this stuff. Had it on 3DS even. And now we just, nope, you don't have it now. Have a good day.
Yeah.
That's why I think why people get upset because, Nintendo, it was never great. It was never as good as the rest. They had it. So, like, a lot of the excuses that get brought up for that, and I understand the whole Apple comparison, but that would be like Apple saying, we're going to give you a phone but not give you the ability to talk on it. Like, it's a basic function. You're going to get the Apple's never cut off the basic functions.
Yeah.
It's always been like, when we go beyond that, like, oh, you can video chat with other apps, that's fine. But when we release our video chat, we're going to make sure it's a step above. And FaceTime is still one of the industry leaders in video chat. And it made other companies actually have to step up and improve theirs. Like, I think right now, I think Facebook's is actually one of the better third-party ones. That's not Apple. Because even I've had issues with Google. Maybe it could be just specific to Apple devices, by the way. I haven't used the Google video chat on an Android in a while. But I mean, even I don't know. I think again, we're obviously all speculating because we don't know. We don't work at it.
Yeah,
we literally have no idea what their mindset is and why they're not doing it. Why they said, "Oh, voice chat's going to be wonderful. We're going to do it through a phone app to free up resources," but then we only offer it for 2 games in 5 years. It's really weird. And then on top of that, remember all the original ideas they have for the app? Like, we'd be able to not only message people, we could set up play sessions that our friends could sign up for, and that just never happened. And that was the one thing. Remember, I got really excited about that feature. I thought, like, when Reggie talked about that, I was like, wait, nobody else does that. That's actually a really cool idea. I don't know if Nintendo's going to execute it, but it looks really that like sounds awesome. An ability to set up future play sessions that people on my friends list can sign up for. Like, imagine, guys, all you YouTube members out there and our patrons that are friends with me on Switch, if I set up a play session for Splatoon 3 on launch day, and you guys could go sign up for that play session to get an order in which you guys are going to play with me on launch day, that would have been sick.
Or even during Game Fest?
Even in Game Fest. Like, that would have been sick. And instead, nope, I got to independently organize all this stuff off of Switch. Because there's no way for me to, you could just text your friends. I'm like, but a lot of people I game with, I don't have their phone number. I don't have Mike's phone number.
Right, exactly.
I'm using third-party applications to get a hold of him. Like, Nintendo, why are you pushing me to use other people's crap? You know, like, that's one thing about Apple. Hey, you can use other people's crap, but we're going to make sure if you use ours, it's so much better that you don't care about their stuff. And Nintendo's like, oh, we have voice chat, but ours isn't actually better than using other people's stuff. So maybe, hey, we have icons that float on screen. That's cool, right? You like the floating icons that you're never going to look at while you're gaming? Sounds cool, right? That's like, nobody cares about the damn floating icons, Nintendo. You're in a voice chat that you can only do while you're gaming. It's not like I could just get in a lobby with friends like on Discord. No, you can only do it while you're gaming. I can't even organize the game. We just have to start it. Like, it's so weird. It's just weird. I mean, it's fine. I have Discord and other, but like, at that point, it's like, well, just put Discord on Switch and just call it a day.
Right.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. We did start a little bit late today. Obviously, we also... Did we, though? Because we started a day early.
Yeah.
Oh, so did we really start late?
Yeah.
I want to thank, obviously, Mike Perez being on. He'll be on a whole bunch of podcasts the rest of the year. And maybe even if we have another guest as well. I still might be able to slip him in. I just don't have a layout set up right now for 4. But I can do that. If the issue is the layout, don't worry about it.
Yes, sir.
So thanks for coming on. Everyone go check out his channel. I'm going to go do a little, throw a little link to it quick here if you guys go subscribe. He is on his road to 10,000 subscribers. And Mike, you want to update them on that little event? I know you updated it in your video today. A little 10K event you got coming up here?
Oh, yeah. We got a 10K event on May 7th. And then we have some sponsors. Some developer companies are joining in to premiere some trailers on the channel. And then they might also give out and throw out a few codes for the games as well. So one of them is 11-bit games. They signed up.
Oh, I love 11-bit games. They're awesome. They're working with us for Prime Gaming Fest too. They're good people.
Yeah. So they signed up for the event. We got the Nintendo Switch OLED. It'll be fun.
Yep. So May 7th, mark it on your calendar, circle it up, go check out his channel, subscribe. He obviously presumes he'll be at 10,000 by then. I always think it's a bit presumptuous, but the man's been growing faster than my channel, so not so presumptuous. He's probably going to be there like within a week. He's just growing like crazy. I don't know what's happening over there. So like I said, give it a year from now, and you're going to have a bigger channel than me. I can tell you're on the path.
Nah, I don't think so. I think I'll quit before that. I'll say goodbye to YouTube forever. In a couple of months.
All right. Well, then he never has to live up to his promise of like 40 switches.
Right.
When you get
All right. Can you imagine?
Quit right before the 100,000.
Oh man, we're at 99,900 subscribers, guys. Well, I was gonna do a stream for it, but you know what? I think I retire because of a promise I made.
Switches? Okay,
I just checked my bank account and I went.
Yeah,
we're done. We retire.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give away 3 during this stream. The other rest we'll give away like 3 randomly every few months. All right, sounds good, guys.
Right.
Shit, I'm retiring. They didn't take to that one. I'm out. Peace. Guys, go check out my new YouTube channel. It's got 1 subscriber, me.
I can start over again.
Yeah, we're starting over again. We'll give away 1 when we hit 10K on that. Starting the cycle over again, and then Mike Perez will just have a network of channels that never quite hit 100,000.
Like, I don't have to go that far. I just changed the channel name and say, no, that was for Nintendo Academy. We're a new channel now.
Yeah, we've rebranded now. We're covering all of gaming.
Yeah.
And we were... Sorry. Well, why don't you just change it to PS5? No, see, that was old. That's old channel.
Yeah.
You know, we're in a new universe, a new Mike universe, and this Mike universe did not promise this amount of
just drop it in your legalese.
yeah. That was Nintendo Academy. This is Xbox Academy, and then when I'm done with Xbox Academy, I go to PlayStation Academy.
Look,
there you go.
Now we're giving away just 40 one-month trials to Xbox Game Pass that I just happened to get for free out of the trash can at GameStop.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. All right. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. And you guys go check out his event on May 7th. And he'll be, I said a bunch of podcasts. He's going to be a big part of our Prime Gaming Fest as well. And who knows? I know I wanted to talk to you a bit behind the scenes about some ideas for Prime Gaming Fest and just working with some other companies. But we'll see what happens with that.
That's good.
Oh, perfect
so-
timing for chat. The hot girls came in right at the end.
Yeah, right at the end. That's the way we do it, right? The hotties show up when it's time to turn it off.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. 18 plus from the rest of the night. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am Nathaniel Janc from Nintendo Prime, and this is who? What? What's your name?
Eric Moore.
Eric Moore. Who's an Eric, and where
I
do you
have
find
no
more
clue.
of him?
On Twitter at emo8790, I guess.
There we go. See how I made that work? You can also find me on Twitter at Ninty Prime. Otherwise, just type Nintendo Prime wherever podcasts are heard. Everything. We're trying to get everything up to date. I know I'm a little behind, but slowly getting it to where we're fully up to date on all of our audio versions and on our podcast channel. Go ahead and check out our podcast channel at the Nintendo Prime podcast channel. Link down below. Otherwise, peace out, everyone. Bye.
Later.
Do 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 do.